this reality divide that's happening. It's becoming increasingly more obvious. Something happens, it seems really straightforward. So you think, oh, I know, I just watched this video clip or I listened to this audio or whatever. I know totally what happened. And then the next person hears it and you see them respond to it, and they are 180 degrees different in what they see and hear than what you thought you saw and heard. And it's all dependent on what that person's bringing to the table, what box they're in, what side they've taken, or what labels they've dressed themselves up in, or whatever, right? And they will see something totally different than the next person. I see it all the time. These people commence to scream at each other online. There's all kinds of hate being traded around. I don't know why, because it's not like that kind of behavior is going to get somebody to hear your point. Like going on the internet and going on social media and insulting someone else because they don't agree with you is never going to make them agree with you. I don't know why people think that. I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, the more people fight, the more their minds get more firmly closed around whatever it is they believe, not the opposite. And so the less they're even able to see each other's point. And I've noticed a lot more people have begun assuming, too. Anything you say, they just attach an assumption to that, and then they start arguing with the assumption they projected. So you don't even have to really do or say much of anything anymore. And someone will assume something, type that, and then start arguing that point, even though it's totally based on their assumption. So they're just fighting with themselves now, which is really just another shadow they're swinging at there, that they are projecting. So you have this situation that's becoming more apparent by the day, that we really are in our own little universes. I mean, these universes overlap, they coincide, but you're not going to be in someone else's body and brain, unless this is a really cheesy sci-fi movie. You're probably going to just be in your body and brain, and so therefore, you cannot see the world through somebody else's eyes other than through your own empathy, which is an emotion that's sorely lacking right now. One that we really, I think, humanity is desperately in need of more of. And I've seen more people this year than perhaps ever in my life get their own beliefs turned around 180 degrees on themselves, and now they stand for everything they supposedly stood against or spoke out against. But I think more concerning than that is how many people I've seen make excuses for or applaud authoritarianism and make these appeal to authority arguments, which appeal to authority is a logical fallacy for a very good reason. It relies on opinion and faith in authority figures instead of facts. But being a so-called authority figure does not make someone infallible. Authority figures can also be wrong. They've been wrong this year, they'll be wrong next year. Authority is not the same as fact. And it does not automatically imply fact, but there are a lot of people right now who are trying to make this case. And I think that is a very dangerous road to go down. Because one of the questions that society, I think, we're going to be facing in these coming years with everything that's going on right now is what happens when a person or a group of people want to use coercion, threats, fear, and force to try and make other people who do not agree with them admit the dress is blue when they see the dress is white. To try and force those beliefs, to try and force that faith. You cannot make people believe in something because you do through threats, fear. It doesn't work that way. I mean, even if you put up a phony law and say, we will all take an oath that we believe this dress is blue. If you don't say the dress is blue, you better pay a fine. That dress is blue. Even if people pay fines, that does not mean in their brain they believe anything. Just because you coerced them or forced them or threatened them or made them afraid, that's not belief. That's not where faith comes from. Threatening people and trying to make them afraid is not where faith comes from. True faith does not come from there. You will not get that. You cannot make people have faith. All you can do is threaten them, and then you can get them to lie to your face and claim they're you just to make you stop. That is actually what happens. People just start lying to make it stop. Doesn't mean they believe anything, even if they take an oath on it and pay a fine and everything else, okay? You cannot force people to believe in what you believe in, and you can't make people think the dress is blue if they think the dress is white. I mean, we can get into debates over whether or not there even is a dress, right, or if colors actually exist. I mean, that's the level some people are taking it to, and that's a bit far from me where I am right now. I mean, this, like I said when I started this video, this is just all about the journey of where I am. Some of what I've said already, there are other people listening to this going, I already knew that 50 million years ago. Good for you, that's awesome. But I have had a harder time really learning some of these lessons. I guess it's just, in my view, it's like 2020 taught a whole bunch of people to just give in to that inner authoritarian, and they're relishing in it, and it's kind of sickening. It's like we woke up in the Stanford prison experiment, and there are people just popping out of the woodwork with that authoritarian muscle there, and they just want to like shove it down people's throats. I saw some people on Twitter just the other day using fear tactics to try and peer pressure libertarians into abandoning their constitutional principles so they can embrace dictatorial authoritarianism. It's so twisted. It's just so utterly twisted. You can't tell people you have to make a choice, first of all. And then, once you do, then you get mad when they didn't make the choice you wanted, which is what you just saw happen. And that should prove to everyone in a very literal way why authoritarianism is a total failure, okay? And will never succeed, ultimately. Telling someone they have to choose is not the same as giving them a choice. That's an illusion of a choice. You want to tell people they have no choice but to choose, then you can deal with it when they run out and choose the exact opposite of what you were trying to force them to do. Because you're actually pushing people to stand up against you when you do that. It's just, authoritarianism is a total failure. We should be able to have respectful conversations with people we don't agree with. We should be able to hear what those people have to say without immediately getting nasty and judging them and saying a bunch of horrible stuff in comments and being all triggered. I mean, this is a fundamental part of the golden rule. It's an aspect of basic human decency, and I feel like in many ways I've seen that thrown out the window with whole segments of the population. And I don't know what it is you think you're fighting for. If you have to get to a point where you're threatening people, trying to force people into doing things, you're calling people names, you're acting horribly hateful and nasty. And if everyone has to turn into a bunch of monsters, what kind of world do you think is going to be left after that? That's the one you're fighting for, where we all have to abandon basic human decency and respect and act like total assholes? Is that really the plan? So we can all live in the monster world? Go fight the good fight so we can have the monster world. I mean, it's like this whole thing is a game, and some of these people are just losing hard. And what are they losing? Themselves. That's what I feel like I'm watching. We have this hyper-polarization going on in these groups. It's such a thesis, antithesis, synthesis situation. When you step back and you look at it, it feels like watching an alchemical formula. I think I'm just going to leave that right there. But I also know deep down, just because I can feel it, authoritarianism is not the future. No matter what this short-term situation looks like. There are a lot of people right now. There are a lot more people who are actually stepping back completely and are able to see this from a much wider perspective. And they're realizing now the inherent paradoxes in this system. They're seeing the flaws here on both sides of some of this thinking that's going on. And they're able to see the whole thing for what it is. So, that's a side effect too. I think a lot more people are rejecting authoritarianism than there are that are embracing it. So I actually feel incredible hope right now, which is coming from a person who's been through a lot. But I feel it. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't. There are a lot of people right now who just want to keep you freaking out so they can sell you the darkest, bleakest view of reality possible. And I just don't think that that's the truth. I came on here from day one with the idea that I would try to speak in the truth to the best of my ability always. And I have not abandoned those principles. And I have stood for the same thing this whole time. I have not flip-flopped. I have not 180 degrees got on some bus. I have not jumped on some cult of personality train and lost sight of reality. And the more important points of that. And I feel like the more I see people getting on the bus and getting in the box, the more I'm stepping out of all of them. So that's where I'm going. I refuse to take any of this stuff literally. I think it's ridiculous. I feel like I'm watching not even a Hollywood budget film. It's more like a made-for-TV, B-rated, maybe one of those mini-series they play a few nights in a row on some main primetime channel. It has like a bunch of commercials and you lose the plot halfway through. That's kind of what it feels like. With the actors from the community college group, you know, their hearts are in it, but it's just, there's a reason it's straight to DVD. That's all I'm saying. I guess I really just felt the need to share that with you guys. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon.